Today we are in North Little Rock at the AR Innovation Hub at Winrock International. The unique thing about this challenge is that it's historical based. In the city of North Little Rock, there is a green space where a lot of Native Americans traveled, and they really want to create an interactive experience for people to come and learn about the history that has happened here.
The challenge this year has been created by the city of North Little Rock. And the challenge theme is Trail of Tears.
What is the Trail of Tears? In 1830, the government decided they wanted to remove all the Native Americans in the east part of the United States. In that removal, they got each tribe to sign a treaty. Actually, it was a treaty sort of to their demise, that they agreed to come from their homelands, most on the east coast of the United States, come through Arkansas, and they would be given land in Oklahoma. It was the journey that was the kicker. That took over a decade. Over 40,000 people were taken and driven off of their lands. It is the most significant site in Arkansas for the Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears is an important part of our history that we can never forget. And so the actual landmark, if you will, of a significant part of the Trail of Tears happened here in North Little Rock. And so it's time for us to pay proper homage and humbly remember everything that they went through.
Those ideas didn't come in a conference room, they didn't come in a business office. They came in a space like this. They came in getting out and walking in an area, getting inspired by the surroundings around you, getting inspired by history. You guys get to be a part of something that's going to be really, really impactful for not only the city, but for the Trail of Tears tribes. It needs to be something impactful, and you guys get a chance to create something that is going to be impactful. So thank you very much for participating.
Next, we are going to introduce the teams.
Troublemakers. We went ahead and made our team name. I gave it as a friendly suggestion in one of our group chats, and Isaac went ahead and submitted it in without us talking about it. And so we kind of just got thrown in as being troublemakers. We all go to the same high school, and we're all pretty good friends.
Pulaski Tech Titans!
Actually, our provost came up with that name. She sent us out a list of around 5 different things, and we were just like, whatever you think. So she was the one that came up with it.
Fast and Curious!
I am Nasir Edward Hicks. I'm 10 years old.
I'm Connor Ashnelli, and I'm 10 years old. I'm Noah Salazar, and I'm 11.
I'm their STEAM Lab facilitator. We are here to represent Boone Park Elementary. We came up with the name Fast and Curious because we like the movie and it represents their personality.
Finding it!
That name kind of came from a friend of mine and an inside joke, and I'm kind of lazy and terrible at coming up with team names for stuff like this, and so it's just my generic name I use from everything.
Both of us are teachers at different school districts.
WWMD!
Our team name is WWMD, which stands for What Would Matt Do? Matt Dozier is our program East CEO, and so we kind of just want to channel his energy to help us win, because he is fantastic.
Bruins!
Our high school mascot's the Bruins, and we thought it'd be a funny play on words. I played football with Evan over the summer, and he's in my engineering class as well.
And I'm the token teacher of the group. I teach engineering and robotics, so 2 of these guys are in the engineering class. That's how I know each other. And then we have one in the robotics class, so this came up and thought this would be a great opportunity to apply this, and here we are.
3, 2, 1. Make 48!
This challenge has become kind of special to me because I am a registered Muskogee. My tribal enrollment number actually goes back to my great-grandmother, Hayaka Hokachi, who's registered as number 1 on the Dawes Roll. The Dawes Rolls is where they registered the 5 civilized tribes that you see represented here.
I remember being in a 3rd grade classroom and learning about the Trail of Tears and just being horrified by that. But also I know that was a moment that for me kindled, a lot of inspiration of care about the world.
I thought about my grandparents and how they were from Indian descent. I think it would just be huge for our community to have something that would like teach us or inform us about the Trail of Tears.
This whole team just met 3 days ago. It was a kind of an interesting mix of individuals from the college. We've just basically been throwing ideas out. We get yeses and nos and just go from there.
Our day one, there was a lot of different opinions and we just weren't hearing each other out.
The decisioning has been like a lot of pitching ideas, then collectively shutting down ideas, and then going back to those ideas, and then bringing them forward. It's been everywhere.
Yeah. Like we're all on the same page in terms of like
okay, so you were on the same page. Our ideas an exhibit.
Yes.
Okay, boom.
Loose term, still loose term.
Loose, okay. And this is what this process is to get it tight.
Taking a walk to the river trail has helped us a lot to have an idea of what to work with.
This is a point where many tribes walked through this area. As we were thinking about the challenge, we thought, what would it look like if you were to even be standing on the Little Rock side and you were to look over here and you would know that this was the Trail of Tears spot. So think about that as you're creating your prototype.
They kept coming from 1830 on to 1839, 1840. And the winters through here were brutal. A lot of them could have frozen here. They could have, died.
We want to kind of get a rough estimate of measurements.
Yeah, we could do that. We could walk it.
Yeah,
I could walk it. Your app and your phone. That's right. Yeah, if you want to do that, that would work out good. Then we'd have some sort of measurement.
The more I think about it, the more time I think about it, we're going to have to spend on the actual monument itself, because that sounds like that's what they really want. It's it's a visual piece that's going to impact.
That'll just pull you in from both sides of the river. Yeah. When we took the walk down to the spot where we were actually going to have our monument, I saw that it was right by the river. So I thought, why don't we incorporate boats into this? Because the Indians, the Native Americans came up the river on boats. Some of them did at least. But most of them feared it because they thought the boat was going to sink.
If you look at it from the emotional standpoint, what happened to these folks wasn't right.
Right.
It's not a proud sight. It's a sight of honor. It's a sight of human emotion that I could have never experienced.
We got secrets to talk about. Yeah.
I hope the teams just really focus on who the 5 tribes were and the fact that we have survived. I'm a living testimony to that. My Muskogee blood has survived for generations.
The most unique thing about this makerspace is the varied elements of it. So we teach classes, we have lasers and 3D printers. We also have a wood shop and pottery studios. And we also support budding entrepreneurs with our co-working space, awesome Wi-Fi, free coffee. So we're really just a hub for every kind of making.
We bring in people on a daily basis that are everything from 8 years old, never seen a power tool before, to somebody who's been working in construction for 40, 50 years. They're both coming in, they're teaching each other stuff.
We just dropped off these lockers and bolt bins at Make 48 in North Little Rock, and we've stocked them with various PPE or personal protective equipment and nuts and bolts.
So my role as a tool tech at this event is I'm the lead tool tech for the wood shop and metal shop. I've been helping the teams with a little bit of everything from finding materials, places for them to source their materials from, and actually down to the painting, the cutting, the helping them with every aspect of their project so far.
So you're just making a pocket, a recess?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We've got 3 of these battery packs.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
So the feet are about 4 inches.
Right now, I'm helping a team with their diorama for the competition to show off what their design looks like in a 3-dimensional space. We are designing some laser cut elements. We designed some CNC'd parts for a resin pourer.
I'm a tool tech with the 3D printers, so I work in conjunction with the CAD guys from Onshape. They turn over the files that the teams have communicated to them, and we make them out of plastic. So We find that the best teams are sort of hybrid manufacturing. They do a little bit of CNC work, a little bit of woodworking, a little bit of printing.
Onshape is a great product development tool, but more importantly, it's a great collaboration tool. So a lot of the teams come to us with drastically different levels of experience, but it doesn't really matter because of the collaboration tools that are built into the product.
Say like 6 inches is where the whole cross section be 6 inches and then it'd be built out, and that way we could print it because the base of these things are, I think that would do about right. So we just need to scale it to where the radius of this circle would be approximately 6 inches and build it up from there.
So when you're ready, we can start laying this out in CAD.
I think we're ready.
You guys ready?
Yeah, let's get to work.
Their original vision was a fountain, that's the big circle, surrounded by a ring of trees. We figured out that 1 inch on this scale corresponds to so many feet, and so we're able to keep everything in scale so that if we were to take this design and scale it up, it fits the original targeted, the target they had for the real life installation. I'm able to draw something in 2 dimensions on a flat piece of paper and then say, well, tell me what that looks like when I push that down onto a curved surface. So if I remove the bowl, you can see that these are the resulting curves. Before the thicken, it's a piece of paper. After the thicken operation completes, it now has some thickness. So after you have the CAD files, we can pull those into the Ultimaker slicing software. We had to split it and print it in 2 pieces, so then they had to tape it back up.
We are building a spirit that's been moved for like thousands of years. She's an Indian lady. Her tears are coming down and making water pressure.
A friend of mine who's Mexican, she does dancing. She posted a Facebook of this costume. So last minute, we're thinking, okay, I can call her and ask her for the costume, and that's how we got the costume.
The reason we went with the costume is because I happened to bring with me an iPad that is attached to a structure 3D scanner. So what we're hoping for is to get a good enough 3-dimensional image that we can export as a solid model and then actually carve the head of the team. Oh, I like that. Can you hold that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And no smiling, and we promise not to tickle you. Projecting light onto her and then analyzing it as it comes back. You can see I didn't get everything around back. Basically, we do have enough data to capture a nice 3D image that can be brought into the software and toolpath and cut on the ShopBot CNC.
So what we're working on is taking advantage of the green space that's out there in that area and setting up a central item of a tree, which we have a 3D model of here. And then leading to that, building some walkways that would go to that.
Somebody comes here in 10 years when we're no longer using cell phones and they're embedded in their head or something like that, whatever they are then what's my interaction with it at that point?
And what's the name of this one? Do we have a name yet?
We do not have a name.
Working on that? Okay, gotta come up with a name. It might be a little tough.
The second portion of this is actually going to be an old Native American practice of bending trees in the shape of trail markers that will point to the original coordinates of the tribe's original locations prior to their journey in 1830.
As a guest coming up on that, I would want to know that. So you know it because you've created it, but you might just want to think about that.
I'm always the naysayer, so if the woman breaks down, what are we coming and what can we learn?
And so just make sure you can figure out what your footprint is going to be. Is this going to be 80 by 80? Is it going to be 40 by 40?
So not necessarily the footprints that you're talking about representing, but
Yes.
how much area is your display going to take up?
Yes, square feet. Like what is that?
Is it going to be the size of this room? Is it going to be the size of this building? As you were talking from the beginning, I was like, okay, it sounds like it's just, it's all in the cloud somewhere. But it looks like you've made good progress with it and getting everything put together.
Feeling pretty good about what we have. Think it's a winner. I'm sure it's a winner.
We got her coming out good now.
Both sides?
The right side is a little more, but that's good. There you go.
This kind of competition to Arkansas is really special. It gives me hope about innovation, gives me hope about creativity, and it gives me hope about inspiring everyone that's part of this competition in our community to feel like they're making a difference.
Winning to me would mean making an impact on the community and really bringing some more awareness to an issue that still really continues to persist, and hopefully opening people's eyes to the things, to the injustices that were done.
There's nothing like getting a bunch of makers that have never met before in one wood shop and seeing things brought to life.
Winning to me is kind of like proving that even though we've had like hard fights, that we can go past that and come together and actually do something.
This is a hard history to engage with, and we're in a weird time in which we're suddenly facing histories that haven't always been talked about. The prospect of winning this, the most important aspect would be just to be part of telling that story.
Well, what I like about Make 48 is to see these teams, struggle for 48 hours, because at the end they realize, hey, what if I had one more day or another week? So it's neat to see the teams realize what they really can accomplish when they sort of focus on a problem.
All right, so now the fun happens. We have a really esteemed judging panel, and I want to introduce these lovely folks to you guys. We have Dr. Daniel Littlefield.
I have written a book on 4 of the 5 tribes that came through here. And I have been a teacher and scholar in the university for the last 62 years, and I am hopeful that I can do another 10.
We have Miss Tina Moore.
As a lifelong Arkansan, I think I bring some perspective to that as well, because it's really important to me that the history of Arkansas, something so important, is attention's brought to that.
And we have Mr. Jason Irby.
I did research on the Trail of Tears. I did it from the aspect of the relationship among Native Americans and African Americans.
All right, let's get this party started. Let's welcome Pulaski Tech Titans!
So our interactive experience, the Tears Flow West, we're going to start with the fountain. We have 6 total symbols on the front of this fountain. The 5 grouped at the top represent one of each of the tribes that travel through this area. The water that actually flows in the direction westward and will basically symbolize the journey to the west. We'll be installing or using a QR code system strategically placed throughout the monument.
Let's give everybody a round of applause from Team Finding It.
This installment is called Perseverance because that's truly the story that we wanted to tell. We thought about that imagery of the map and how it looked like roots, and we got to talking about, what it would look like to have a tree in the middle. And we decided ultimately that we wanted to illustrate that with a tree where the top half had been cut off. However, the tree is still somewhat living. We have the 5 paths, which are each representing one of the 5 major tribes that were heading through this area, ultimately converging with the tree in the center. Along the way on the paths, we intend to embed metal medallions in the shape of leaves. That would include QR codes that would link to information.
The Troublemakers!
So we started off this project thinking of making something like different scenes being played throughout the turntable that we have. So we developed a 2-gear system so that you can just crank on the side and it rotates to each different tribe. We've separated them out and each one has a significant figure that did something important in their history, an example of their housing, and an instrument that was important in their culture, along with stands that will give more information about the tribes.
How large do you envision this final product to be?
So for our final design, we want it to be about 4 feet in diameter and 5 feet tall, and the crank about 3 feet so children can still use it or people in wheelchairs to make sure it's accessible to everybody.
Up next, WWMD.
We have our trail, which is titled The Road Less Traveled. It would be touching on the fact that we're also touching on less mentioned information in historical texts, such as the African Americans, known as freed men at the time, traveling alongside the Native Americans on the trail. An effect like that would take place. When you step on it during the nighttime, it would show a bright light giving more information on the acrylic. The feet themselves have 2 things on them, 1 word on each. The word your on the left foot, and something they had to give up on the right foot. So for example, your wealth, your family, your livestock. Now, in the end, the last pair of footprints would have the words your and self.
Could you explain a little more what you meant about the interactive part of the tier?
The tier itself, it has layers to it. The layers, you can spin them around and see the dog numbers present on the entirety of the tier.
Team Bruin.
People will see this boat while they're driving across, say, the Broadway Bridge, and they'll think, wow, we should go check that out. We should bring our friends, maybe bring the kids. Then once you get to the bottom, you see a story stone.
As I scan the story stone on my device, I begin to see the face and hear the voice of a real Seminole girl telling me her personal story about what brought her to this area, this specific monument, this North Little Rock location.
But if you look from the river, think about it. Look from the river, it looks like it's docked, right? You look from the street, it looks like it's on port, and if it floods, it's in the right place.
Okay.
We do want it to be recognizable from a distance, but it is an open, kind of like a pagoda style, but it'll be in the shape of a steamboat. And
So basically the size of an actual boat.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, did you all talk with North Little Rock about that?
Let's bring down the Fast and the Curious.
We are proposing to create a 10-foot bronze statue of a crying Native American woman. Her tears will create a shallow stream that flows into the reflected pool. This way, visitors can come and dip their feet in the water and be immersed in the experience.
Is there anything that would provide information, background information, so visitors would know what this was about who do not have the historical context?
My idea was we could put all of the states that the Trail of Tears was in and put every single tribe right next to it.
Boys, we seem to have a leak. This is Justin's final Make 48, my friend.
So now these poor judges have the hard time of deliberation and deciding who our winner will be tonight.
I will be looking particularly for accuracy in how these teams render the Trail of Tears.
I'll be looking for something that I think will spark the interest of visitors to the site.
I will be looking for how authentic it is, how factual it is, of how it catches someone's eye and attention.
I like the simplicity of it. It's just really clean, coming off of what's already there as far as the aesthetics of it. And just, I like the symbolism of the tree.
If you're just walking by and you don't have a smartphone or some device, you can't interact with it.
I just love how it would bring so much attention. Like if you saw this, you would be drawn in, wondering what it was.
And it's a side wheeler. A lot of people think about the paddle wheelers as the mode of the day, but the removal is practically all side wheeler.
So they got that historically accurate. So the only thing that I think we had said was a little different is the fact that first you have to go into it and scan something and give permissions on your phone to access these. So that might be a deterrent to some.
We find that a lot of people traveling through chasing the trail are looking at a particular tribe rather than, you know, the whole process. So when they have those tribal choices, that helps a lot.
Which of course, one thing we wondered about the tier was as far as on hot days. So would you be able to touch and turn it, or would the metal be too hot?
If you don't have places like this to foster these things, and if you don't have programs at school to foster these things, and you're not involved in them, they don't happen.
The People's Choice Award is the Tears Flow West by the Pulaski Tech Titans. The winner of $2,000, the trophy, is the North Little Rock Trail of Tears Memorial by Team Bruin.
For us students, we've never experienced anything like this. If Make 48 hadn't come, I think we wouldn't have gotten the chance to. And it's really awesome to get to see how all this works.
I want you all to keep innovating, and I hope this experience has been awesome and inspiring for you guys as well.